Hello and welcome to this week's NASCAR Quick Hit here at SHIPIT Nation. I am Eric, also known as TheGame on Discord, and tonight we are going to be discussing the Goodyear 400, which is taking place at the track that is too tough to tame, Darlington Raceway. As always, please go ahead and hit that like button and please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. It really does go an incredibly long way in helping us with that YouTube algorithm. Before I break down the starting lineup for the Goodyear 400 taking place at the Darlington Raceway, let me, of course, mention us here at SHIPIT Nation. Of course, SHIPIT Nation and SaberSim have joined forces to combine forces and to give you the best DFS experience in the game today. The most valuable content with the most valuable optimizer. You can't go wrong. SaberSim and SHIPIT Nation. If you haven't already, please go ahead and join, or at least consider joining. I think you owe it to yourself to do so if you consider yourself a serious DFS player. If you haven't already, here are the different packages we have here. The All Access Content, which is just content, All Access Optimizer Core, All Access Optimizer Starter, and All Access Optimizer Ultimate. So, like I said, if you haven't already, SHIPIT Nation and SaberSim, you owe it to yourself to consider joining the hottest DFS site in the game today. All right, let me go ahead and hide that, bring that back. Bam, perfect. TV coverage is once again on Fox Sports 1 in the US, and this weekend it's on TSN 3 in Canada. Race coverage begins at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. This weekend, there are roughly 205 Dominator points available, and of course, we will want to target those points. Make sure to check out the slate plan over at shipitnation.com for my final Dominator thoughts. And also, real quick, tires. And I just wanted to make sure to mention this because I'm sure I'll mention it through the driver by driver breakdown. Tires will absolutely play a critical part in the race on Sunday, as Darlington Raceway's track surface is highly abrasive. The drivers will want to come down pit road for 4 fresh Goodyear Racing Eagles at any chance they can. However, the teams only get 11 sets of tires for the entire day. Tire management will be of utmost importance for both the driver to manage the tires as he's obviously driving the car, and for the team, the pit crew, the crew chief, etc., to make sure they're using those tires in a smart way. You will absolutely see comers and goers on Sunday based off of this tire wear. You will see cars slap the wall, earn their Darlington stripe, as it's known, because, like I said, the track is highly abrasive, highly abrasive. Lap times will drop. Cars will be slip sliding all over the place. Expect a pretty good race on Sunday. Practice and qualifying, there really was nothing crazy to write home about. We don't have any crazy chalk plays in the back this week. Pretty much just had a normal practice and qualifying. So let's go ahead and break down this starting lineup. Starting on pole, William Byron. Pole sitter, Hendrick Motorsports, has an average finish of 10th here in the last 6 races, and he won the 2023 version of this race. It's Willie B. He's good everywhere, as is Hendrick Motorsports. How much will he lead on Sunday? That remains to be seen. Ryan Preece. Hello, Mr. Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. Ryan Preece has been on a heater these past few weeks, and it continues with a stellar qualifying effort. He has not led any laps here at the Cup Series, but he finished 12th and 17th last year. This team has absolutely been trending upwards, and I think he is worth a consideration for your player pool, even starting as high as he is. I think he could keep up there. Do I consider him a dominator play? Potentially. But yeah, it would not surprise me to see him in the top 5, top 10 all day. And for $7,200, not too bad, right? Next up, starting third, Denny Hamlin. Last week's winner. He has no wins at Darlington in the next-gen era, but finished second in 2022 and seventh and fourth last year. Plus, Denny has led a total of 256 laps here. So, Denny will be a potential dominator play. Starting fourth, Chase Briscoe finished fifth in this race last year and won the Southern 500 last year. Briscoe has always been impressive at Darlington, and that should continue since he's now with Joe Gibbs Racing. Starting fifth, Bubba Wallace. Bubba has been excellent at Darlington and has 4 top 10s in his 6th next-gen starts. Starting fifth, there's no reason to think Bubba can't do that again on Sunday. Starting sixth, Austin Cindric. Cindric was fast in Group A practice and then backed it up in qualifying. Past history, though, not good, hence why he has the D for the track ranking, or D minus rather for track ranking. However, he could be worth some ownership in GPP contests, just because, right? His practice speeds were fantastic, and he had good qualifying. So, do I think it could potentially be a trap? Yes. Is it worth some exposure in GPPs like 150? Absolutely. Next up, 7th, Red Dog, Tyler Reddick. Reddick has been boom or bust here at Darlington. He has 2 runner-up finishes as well as a 3rd place finish, but he also has a 10th, a 32nd, and a 22nd place finish. He has proven, though, that he can lead laps, as he has led for a total of 264 laps in those races. So Red Dog can lead, can dom. If he's not finishing up front, though, it seems like he's finishing towards the back. Besides that random 10th place finish. So I love Red Dog, but that's just something to think about. Starting 8th, Kyle Busch. Loved his long run speeds in practice. Is this the weekend KFB can finally park it back in victory lane? That remains to be seen. Starting 9th, Ryan Blaney. If I liked Kyle Busch's long run speed, then I really like Ryan Blaney's long run speed. Love Blaney as a play on Sunday. Starting 10th, Michael McDowell. Mike Mack will be a fade for me on Sunday. He has had some bright spots, though. He finished 6th and 7th back in 2022. However, since then, a 28th, a 10th, a 32nd, and a 33rd. Pair that with a 10th place starting spot, and you have quite the recipe for losing place differential points. So Mike Mack will be a fade for me on Sunday. Ty Gibbs. Y'all, I think Ty Gibbs is going back into the player pool this weekend. He had decent practice, and Joe Gibbs Racing added championship-winning car chief Robert Smith to the 54 team. He joined the team just this week, and I think this is his first race with the 54 team. Is that enough to turn around performance in 1 week? Well, that remains to be seen. However, he did finish second in this race just last year. Starting 12th, Todd Gilliland. I'm encouraged by Gilly's long run practice speeds. I just really, really hate his 12th place starting spot. 13th, Carson Hocevar. Hocevar was fast in practice, but dreadful last year with finishes of 33rd and 26th. I personally will need to see one strong Darlington performance from Hocevar before I feel comfortable recommending him in any DFS formats. Starting 14th, Christopher Buescher. Average history here with middle of the road practice speeds. If you like to play Christopher Buescher, go ahead. If you feel strong on fading Christopher Buescher, go ahead. I don't think you can go wrong either way there. Chase Elliott, NASCAR's most popular dullard, is up next. Much like Chris Buescher, average race history here with kind of meh practice speeds rather. However, he is in a Hendrick car, which is an obvious plus. Me personally, though, I think I'm going to fade old Chase Elliott. Zane Smith starting 16th. He has amazing long run practice speeds at only 6,000. Is this a trap? I don't know. Fairly dreadful here, right? Like not strong driver. But the practice speeds, long run practice speeds were there, which is what we are looking for. So it crosses that box. He's cheap. We will need some cheapies, so crosses that box. So I think Zane's going to go in the player pool. I think Zane. I think you're a part of the team on Sunday. Next up, Christopher Bell. He was not at all impressive in practice, and his average finish here is 10th. However, he is in top tier Joe Gibbs equipment, and he could potentially be the hottest driver in the sport right now. I'll leave that for you to decide. Would not at all surprise me to see him fighting for a victory by the end of the day. However, his practice speeds and his previous performances here at Darlington just aren't leading me to believe that that's a possibility. Let's see here. Next up, 18th, Joey Logano. Everything I said about Christopher Bell also applies to Joey Logano. Middle of the road practice speeds, good track history here. Would not surprise me to see him up front towards the end of the day, but the speeds lead me to believe that he's on the slower side of things. But Team Penske, much like Joe Gibbs, can absolutely turn things around in a hurry. Starting 19th, Kyle Larson. Excellent long run practice speeds and has led for a total of 392 laps in his past 6 races here. Love Larson on Sunday. 20th, Brad Keselowski. No other way to say it. Brad K has been slow this year. He did have encouraging practice speeds, however, and he won this race last year. So I'm probably just going to fade Keselowski based on his current performance. But his past Darlington performance should not be ignored. 21st, Justin Haley. He's a fade for me. He fired off, practiced fast, and just got slower. Don't have any confidence in that. AJ Allmendinger. Dinger has had an impressive early stretch of races, but his past performance at Darlington is nothing to write home about. But I think he's been so fast recently that he has to be considered for the player pool, right? Yeah, he's had some really strong days for somebody who, in my opinion, did not have much upside this year, right? Like no one anticipated Dinger winning any races. Now he hasn't yet, right? But the races he's been strong at this season have not been your typical AJ Allmendinger strong races. So I'll take a chance on Dinger. Why not? Starting 23rd, Austin Dillon. 83's best finish here was 9th back in 2022, and he just so happened to have top 9 practice speeds throughout practice. If he has that same speed during the race, he could be a smash play at only 6,300. The keyword there is if he has that same speed. That remains to be seen. Starting 24th, Josh Berry. Berry was fast in all aspects of practice, but he only managed a 24th place starting position. This type of track, though, should absolutely suit Berry's driving style, and it would not at all surprise me to see a top 10 finish for Josh Berry at the end of the day. 25th, Milliman, Ross Chastain. Milliman got some extra laps this weekend by running the Junior Motorsports 9 car in the Xfinity Series race. Middle of the road practice for him. kind of like I said earlier, if you want to fade him, I totally understand it. If you want to play him, I totally understand it. He's definitely a very strong either or candidate for me. Let's see here. Ross Chastain. Next up is Noah Gregson in 26th. Noah has 3 trips to Darlington, and his finishes were 32nd, 14th, and 26th, which is enough for me to fade him, even though he has good practice speeds. Starting 27th, John Hunter Nemechek. His 2 next-gen finishes here were 25th and 31st. That's a fade. Starting 28th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Dreadful long-run practice speeds, fading. Starting 29th, Ty Dillon. Second verse, same as the first, or is it third verse, same as the first 2? Slow in practice, fading. And as you can see here, kind of have a little bit of a trend towards these bottom of the or back of the pack drivers. Starting 30th, mi amigo Daniel Suarez. He is only 6,800, which is so cheap for a car of that caliber. He finished 18th and 24th here last year, so the upside's there. His practice speeds were not great, but also not terrible. Yeah, I don't mind taking a chance on Suarez on Sunday. 31st, Cole Custer. He finished 14th and 26th in his only 2 next-gen starts, which came back in 2022. At this point, we're looking for literally any upside in these cheap value plays. So he did finish 14th and 26th here back in 2022. I'm still probably going to end up fading Cole Custer. Riley Herbst, he is a rookie making his first start at the Lady in Black. That's going to be a fade for me. Alex Bowman, a Hendrick Motorsports car all the way back in 33rd starting position. You betcha. Bowman has been dreadful here, though. 0 laps led with finishes of 19th, 8th, 33rd, 10th, and 29th. It's a Hendrick Motorsports car, so obviously he has place differential upside, but he's been terrible here, so he has to, in my opinion, he has to show that upside before I can fully recommend playing him. Starting, who's up next here? Eric Jones, starting in 34th position. Those practice speeds have to be a trap. However, he does have a victory here back in 2022. Still though, I'm probably going to be fading that Jones boy with full confidence. Starting up 35th is Cody Ware. He's an every week fade for the most part. If he's starting dead last, I can always see an argument for him, but starting 34th, that's a fade for me. 35th is Cody Ware. 36th is Shane Van Gisbergen. Let me scroll down on the stone page a few paces. There we go. SVG has 1 start at Darlington, which came just last September. And in that race, he started 34th and finished 26th. Nothing to write home about with that performance. He did have positive place differential. The main difference is that was the Southern 500, and this is the Goodyear 400. So 100 less miles to have a similar performance to that. I'm probably going to fade SVG just because he's in for a long day on Sunday. 37th is Austin Hill, Xfinity regular Austin Hill. He's making a very rare cup start on Sunday. He is in a 3rd RCR car and was slow in practice. I personally think Austin Hill, the driver, has the ability to get the job done at Darlington. However, I have 0 faith in this car. I have 0 faith with him making so many limited starts in the Cup Series. So probably going to end up fading Austin Hill. And starting dead last is JJ Yaley. He's going to be a healthy scratch for me. I feel like I'm going to be scratching JJ, Austin Hill, SVG, Cody Ware, Eric Jones. I feel like my bottom of the barrel play might end up being Cole Custer. I don't know. That's scary. Anyway, hey, now I'm just talking to myself at the end of this video. So that is it for the starting lineup. I have no other notes to share. Like I mentioned earlier, make sure to check in on the slate plan for my final Dominator thoughts. And as always, let's ship it. Where's my ending video? Here it is. Boom.